All right, there we go. All right, welcome everybody to this week's episode two of Manning the Grill. Today our subject matter is something that's important to us all, right? Our kids and how to motivate our kids. And I'll start quickly. We got two phenomenal guests today. I'll let them introduce themselves, talk about how they've done it, but I'll start quickly. I was kind of just going back and forth thinking about pre-pandemic and before pandemic, last March, because we're coming up on that year of this whole mess we've been in, right? And I remember it distinctively because in March we went to Miles's C team played in the state hockey tournament for the C group, right? And it literally happened the day after that. And we were thinking, at that time, my son did not know what Fortnite was. I had done a successful job of hiding that, blocking that from him. Done a phenomenal job. At that time, we did not have a subscription to Xbox Gold. I had done a phenomenal job of steering him around. And it was easier, right? We already had things. You had a weak pack. It was basketball or hockey, or for reasons, volleyball or all this different stuff. Like things were always going on. And I think, I don't know if Haley participated in this last year, Sherry, but if you remember correctly, we also had that TAP program. So once a week, they had a trainer come and train the kids, and it was fun. It was all hit stuff, but it was relays, and it wasn't horrible to get them out of the house. So 4 or 5 days a week, they were doing stuff. Then enter the pandemic, right? And I don't know what happened. Kristen and I, my wife, are kind of talking. We just went on pause for a second, right? A couple of weeks, just kind of chilled, let it happen, sit and watch movies, binge watch shows. And before you know it, we're in this habit of, dude, you got to get off the couch and do something. We've done a pretty good job of making ourselves change around. We bought a bike, and we've actually been using that. We can talk about that offline too, Sherry. I can't believe I haven't bought one of those before. I think it's awesome. And then, we've done a good job of keeping ourselves active as adults. But where I'm struggling, where I wanted to have this conversation is the one kid isn't motivated unless it's sitting on a video games. And I'm watching him walk. I think I got to take him to a chiropractor because you've seen those pictures. I'm sure your kids are the same way. When they go to school, they're on their bellies, or we got this yellow ball, like sitting ball. He's on upside down. I'm like, there's no way that's good for your back, man. And then you see him play hockey, or last night I was watching him play basketball. I'm like, why are you running weird? Like, what? Are you hurting? There's something wrong? And then I started thinking, I'm like, he might need adjustment. This happened a couple of years ago too, but I'm like, you might need adjustment because he's literally in this awkward position every day for the past 200 and some odd days. And so anyway, I just wanted to kind of open it up to you guys, have some people talk about it, have my watchers watch, maybe comment on what you guys are doing, what we've done. And like I said, we bought a bike. And then here's the other problem too. We have two kids. The motivations are totally different, right? I have to bring Reese back because she's at that 13 age, which is a whole other show in itself about teenage girls and what they're thinking and feeling. But she's out riding her bike on her own. She's doing the little apps. Toned Up is the one I'm thinking of. There's a couple of them that they do. Doing these workouts, and she's all concerned about it, and she's watching what she eats, and blah, blah, blah. And she's constantly active. We took her skiing. That was her idea. She challenged me. She pushed me to be the X Games photographer and roll down a hill on a snowboard, mind you, right? I'm going to go in one direction and film her. But we had fun doing it, right? She's not the problem. Then I come home and her smile is just watching YouTube, right? I'm like, come on, dude, let's do something, right? So I'm going to open it up to you guys. Matt, you go first. Introduce yourself, what your business is, how many kids you have, and what you've done this whole period of time.
This is a loaded question, Lane.
Right?
Yeah, so my name is Matt Heilman. I'm in real estate, same as Lane. I run the Matt Heilman Homes team at Exit Realty. And I got 3 kids, as you know, and they have various levels of motivation. But when it comes to the pandemic, I found myself, and listening to you talk, it sort of jogged my memory. Right. My own views and perception on the pandemic and how I felt about it, about COVID, changed weekly, daily.
Yep.
And that directly impacted how I manage my kids. Get off the couch and go do something. Go do something with your life. Well, can I go to so-and-so's house? No, you can't.
No, you can't.
And then after 5 days of that, fine, go to their house. I don't care. Get out.
Only their house. Only their house.
And then I got to reel them back in oh, crap, I don't feel good about that. They're playing with them and they're playing with them and we're all going to get COVID. And okay, reel them back in. And then 5 more days of video games and Pitch Perfect and Descendants on TV, I'm like, go play. Can I go to so-and-so's house? No, you can't. So it's like this never-ending circle of madness that the pandemic caused, and so then keeping your kids motivated is quite a challenge. And then so then when it came back to back to school time, you mentioned that this is kind of this week, at least in our district, for all of us here, we've gone back to a hybrid model. Eli got to start this week, and he was pumped about it. He was happy to go back. Riley is 12, so Eli's 10. He's in 5th grade. Riley's 12. She's in 7th grade. She didn't want to touch middle school. She's like, keep me virtual. We wouldn't let her. I was like, no, you want to go back to school. No, I don't, Dad. No, yes, you want to go back to school. And so finally convinced her that it's in her best interest to socialize and get back into the classroom. She probably would have chosen to stay all virtual if she could have. She wants to avoid 7th grade like the plague. And then I've got a senior. He's 17, and the challenge for him is applying to colleges. He's got all these AP classes, AP tests. Fortunately for me, he is crazy self-driven. Like, he's got his eye on the prize. He's a high-achieving student. He's athletic. He keeps himself busy. He keeps himself organized. So he's been okay. The other two, it's been an interesting world.
I didn't even think about that for your high schooler. Like, you're in a whole, you've got the same world that we're similar to, and then you've got this one high schooler kid who's got a whole different thing, right? I mean, they should be having fun and lazy last 2 semesters.
His senior year, he's just gotten screwed, man. Like, when you think about our senior year and what there's certain rites of passage. There's homecoming, and there's prom, and there's pep rallies, and they have a brand new $180 million school that he hasn't set foot in. And his senior soccer season was supposed to be this fall, and all of that has, and he hasn't been able to do a campus tour to figure out where he's going to college. So we're reversing that whole course, and we're applying to school, seeing where he gets in, and then go visit, hopefully at some point before you have to accept. So it's just been a different world. It's been tough, but he's getting back to school here soon, and he's playing sports, and so it's getting better.
Just to hide, right? Sherry, same with you. Matt brought up a couple points, right? He coaches realtors. His job is to keep people motivated. You have 2 businesses of yourself. You've a slew of employees, 20 plus employees. You're in the business of keeping people motivated, making sure they're on time. And you have great kids. What have you done?
So we've went through the same challenges as Matt with the neighborhood kids, because there's a ton of kids in our neighborhood. You can play with this person, but not this person. You stay outside, and it kind of did change week to week. So I totally agree with you on that, because you want them to be out, and you want them to be kids, and you want them to be social. I think that my husband he's worked this whole time, so he had not even one day stayed home. And myself, I'm very active with biking and the 2 businesses. So I try to keep myself really busy. So I think we're just trying to keep the feel as much as normal as possible, even though it's not. But I think we've been really lucky to try to make it feel like it's been normal just by staying as active as we can between my husband and I, so that they see us out and about, and we're not all just stuck at home hibernating. Like, I cannot imagine being inside all day, every day for weeks on end. Like, we just try to avoid that at all costs. They've all got bikes. We've got a trampoline. Like, we just try to be as active as we possibly can. Thankfully, what did we do this summer? We have a boat, so we try to go out boating. We go camping. So those are all things that we normally do anyway that don't have to involve a lot of people. So we just tried to keep it as normal of the things that we normally do anyway, maybe just doing more of it. So
sure.
Camping all the time, but they don't see the difference in that because we do that anyway, So we just try to keep doing these outdoor activities just to keep them feeling like we still can do stuff safely, and that they don't feel like, they're just sitting at home not being able to do anything. So that was really huge for us this summer. And then thankfully hockey started up. All 3 of our kids are in hockey with the games were on hold or practice was on hold for a little bit, but like for the most part, they've had a little bit of it at least throughout this whole thing to help keep them active. There for a while when it was stopped for a month, I was looking for anything. I'm like, my youngest two, like they're driving me crazy. I'm like, they have to do something. And I found karate was Infinity Martial Arts was doing karate. So I'm like, perfect, like get some energy out. So we signed them up for that. So just even like looking for other things that we wouldn't, looking for active things for them, trying to keep them as active as possible, and they're wearing masks and they're being safe, but they're still doing stuff. So I think that, but to that end, the phones and the iPads, it is a little out of control. I'm not going to lie. My husband's like, you're going to be lying on this whole thing because all they do is go on their phones. It is probably more than normal, but.
Oh, we all do. Yeah, we all do.
but
there's more time in the day. Like there's downtime in their virtual classes and they're at home inside more than they normally would be. When they're in school and they're gone from 7:15 a.m. till 3 o'clock, they're not sitting on a device. But when they're home at that time and every hour they've got a break, and it's hard to manage that.
So that brings up a perfect segue, right? Device or technology management. I don't want to fully take it away from them. I said earlier, right? We didn't have an Xbox. We didn't have a Fortnite a year ago. And I don't mind those things to a certain extent, right? And anything in excess is bad, right? But just a little bits of it is fine. Last month, we started implementing, everything has to be done. There's a list on the wall, chores, all done before you even touch that tablet, right? Mm-hmm. And we've gotten to the point where both of us know we have to give him a 30-minute warning, and then a 10-minute warning, and then a 20-minute warning, then a 10-minute warning that you have to be doing something. Wash your body. Simple, but it's a screaming fight because we got to the point where I started yelling just way too much because I was between things. I got to be on a quick Zoom call, and that's annoying to me, right? That's a whole another story, but I got to be on a Zoom call. I can't make you apple slices. I don't have the time to be a personal assistant for a 10-year-old. You got to be on this call at 10 o'clock or 10:15 for 8 minutes or whatever it is, right? Yeah. So we started putting stops in place there, but on the flip side, I don't want to take it away from him because that's generally where he hangs out with his friends the most. And it's funny because my wife points this out. Reese does the exact same thing. She's just more motivated on the time she's not on, if that makes any sense to you. Mm-hmm. Whereas Miles, my youngest, if there's nothing pushing him to do something else, he'll just go back and watch more YouTube videos until one of his buddies calls. Yeah. And so to your point, Sherry, we've been playing hockey. We've been traveling. We've been kind of, I won't say throwing risk out the door, but we definitely kept that going, thank God. But on the flip side, that's the only way they can connect with their friends. Kind of like Matt was saying, can I go here? No, his mom doesn't like it. Or his father's unsure, right? Yeah. And so you kind of got to give him that Xbox because you go down there, and literally it's hilarious. You listen to his whole team playing Rocket Car or Race League or whatever that stupid game is, or Fortnite. It's awesome. Calling each other out, talking crap. Like it's locker room fun. Yeah. Just over technology. How have you guys managed that?
We've got screen time limits set on their phone, sure. And then we get requests regularly for more screen time. So it depends on the day on how I'm feeling about giving them added screen time. But we started to add in. I didn't feel like at school they were getting assigned enough homework or reading outside of their Zooms. They just didn't have enough work to do. Like when they were in the classroom, they had homework and they'd have crap to do when they got home. And in my opinion, they haven't had enough work. So we implemented some daily reading time. They have to hit a certain amount of minutes a day, literally reading a book. And if they wanted to go over that, they could earn more screen time with reading. And we admittedly haven't stuck to that strongly enough, but sure. We have implemented daily reading requirements. But they're on screens. Riley, it's hilarious. The way kids FaceTime, she FaceTimes with her phone staring at the ceiling. They're just talking to each other. And they got like 10 girls in one FaceTime and the phone just sitting next to her on the couch. Or she'll go in the kitchen. Riley likes to bake, and she'll go bake some brownies while her phone is sitting on the counter looking at the ceiling, but they're all just talking.
Yep. Haley does the same thing. Who are you talking to?
I know.
I'll let you share it. I've seen a couple posts of you having Kindle on the bike, on the mountain trail, which I'm like, I literally dropped my jaw. I'm like, how did you do that? Because just getting Miles on a bike in general is literally pulling teeth. Like, I got to pull him on it, tape him to it, and drag him down the street until he likes it, right?
Well, she's the one, she's into that. So her and Griffin are into that. Haley, I can't get to do that, but Haley's active in other ways, so it's okay. But those two, I really have to try to be creative and get them out doing stuff. So luckily they liked going out and biking with me. They see me doing it all the time, so they want to be with me doing that. So it was special.
Awesome.
Yeah. But my middle child, food has been a really big problem with her, just like the excess time we're home. So I really paid attention to what I'm buying at the store, and just those Cheez-Its I'm not buying because they'll sit and they'll eat the whole box at one time. So like I really had to pay attention to what I'm buying for groceries just to have healthy stuff around. So if they're going to sit and eat, they can sit and eat a bag of popcorn and not something else.
You know, that's important you said, because I was reading something the other day, I can't remember where it was, about, you know, the 10 to 13-year-old age levels. And maybe Matt, as a former teacher, you probably know this too. You know, it's incredibly important for their future, what they think or they go through at that age level, right? So that's why I said I've been very careful. And I mean, Sherry, you did a phenomenal job tiptoeing around, right? But I've been very careful not to call, because he went, you know, my son went through a vertical growth spurt during COVID. His feet got bigger, his body got bigger. But with that and the whole video game thing, and like you were saying, what we were feeding, what was just around, right? He also had a little bit of a horizontal growth spurt. Like, we got to, and I noticed it. I mean, it was obvious, right? And I'm like, obviously you start doing the math, and again, by then you're 2.5 months in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do I fix this? And I'm like, dude, we need love in here, right? So we're changing that, talking about vegetables. My challenge to them is 3 green things a day, green things, and eat them in their entirety, right? Not give them to the dog or anything like that. How about you, Matt? Any issues with you on that side? Groceries, and just because they're sitting around, they're just in the house.
Yeah.
Just walk up and grab the fridge. I'm like, and I can't be mad because I do the same thing, right? If I don't, that's what I'm saying. I'm in my office right now. If I don't go to my office, I will sit in my kitchen and, you know, on the island, you know, do my Zoom calls. There's a fridge right there. Open it up and throw grapes, and before you know it, it's docked. You know, I totally get it. So how about you? How do you handle it?
Yeah, it's been a challenge. I can't always. I mean, when I'm busy and my kids are pretty self-sufficient with school and snacks and stuff, and I'm not always monitoring that, but I do have to monitor the meals. I have to make sure that they're getting the right stuff in, and that we're having fruits and vegetables, because they're predominantly, my kids are eating crap for snacks. And we're, again, it's a challenge. We got a giant bowl of fruit out on the counter. And I'm always telling them, grab a fruit, you know, don't grab the garbage, grab a fruit. Yeah, it's hard. They're home and they're sitting around. Interestingly, I never envisioned it until it happened. My 12-year-old daughter has started having not body image issues, but a little bit. She started to be concerned, like, I'm not going to eat today because I want to get skinnier.
Yes.
Like, stop that. You're 12. Stop that. But so, I mean,
that's TikTok. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's all them seeing crap on TikTok and getting like, oh, I want to be like that. And that's my oldest. I got to bring her back, right? Like, you don't need to work out 7 times. You're good. You're good.
I know.
You're good.
Yeah.
What is your favorite activity? So, for instance, I didn't realize this. I had been trying to talk Reese into skiing for the last 3 years. I have 2 older brothers, considerably older, 16 and 22 years older than me, that have been lifelong skiers. They got me into skiing 30 years ago, right? And I've been snowboarding for the last 25, 30 years. We went out there for vacation. And so when you teach your kids to ski, we go to these little garbage dumps around here. I took them to Snowbird, 11,000 feet elevation. Gravity will help you. Just point straight down, right? That freaked Reese out. This was kind of that point of how do you motivate two different mindsets, right? That same day, Miles, one lesson, not even a real professional lesson. It's my brother and I kind of same point, snowplow, pizza, whatever, and we didn't see him the rest of the day. He made a friend, was getting on the lift by himself. Kristen freaked out. She's like, where's Miles? I'm like, he's on the lift. Look at him to his thing. And it took me 3 years to get Reese back out there with the help of her girlfriends during the pandemic. So the pandemic isn't all bad. There's a lot of good as well. Her girlfriends got her on the slopes. But I'm enjoying that. We've went 3 times, two times so far, and I enjoy going with her. It's amazing little daddy-daughter time on the lift. And we went one time, it was snowing, like it was picturesque, snowing coming down. We couldn't see. It was great, man. What is you guys' favorite activity to do with your kids in this pandemic? Sherry, you go first.
Well, I guess it depends on the season. I mean, this summer, boating and camping were like definitely our go-tos all the time, as much as we could. And everybody really loved that. It was the first summer we had a boat, so it was definitely a good time to get it because they really enjoyed learning how to ski and tubing and stuff. So that was really our big family thing this summer.
Cool. Matt?
Yeah, I mean, we're admittedly terrible at winter sports, and we always have been. And in part, it's our own. I skied when I was a kid, and I joined ski club, and so did my wife, and we skied, but we haven't gotten our kids into it as much, which is weird because we're like crazy nuts about water skiing.
Right.
But our kids have always been involved in heavy in basketball and dance and stuff in the winter months, and weekends are shot. I'm sitting in a gym all day instead of on a ski slope. So we just haven't made it a point as a family to do that. We crushed it on the boat this summer and fall. I mean, we put so many hours on the boat. It was nuts. We took the boat to Florida this fall and rented an Airbnb. It's still there. So we're like, screw this. It's virtual. We're going to do virtual school from an Airbnb in Florida. We drove down. We towed the boat, got it on a gorgeous private lake. We skied in the morning. They did class. We skied in the afternoon. We skied on the weekends. We left the boat there in storage, and we're going back on spring break. So we've crushed it with summer outdoor stuff, not so much on the winter.
That's fine. Like I say, your family does the summer stuff to a super extent, right? I've boated with both of you. Yeah, you guys are crazy, and that's totally fine. And you skiing as a family, you ski as a family, right? Like not just your immediate family, your extended family all skis and all take part in that. So that's great. Yeah, all 3 of us are boat owners. For those out there listening, and I'm pretty sure you guys will all agree. My boat owes me nothing.
No,
I've never changed the oil mid-season in that boat. It's usually at the beginning.
I had to do the same thing. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just riding this thing hard. I sank it. I drank it. Yeah, that boat nothing. And again, that's a great point. Winter is screwing this up, right? Being in the midst of winter, and we're generally busy with hockey, and so is Sherry, right? Yeah. But winter has kind of screwed it all up because you can't really. You can, but getting to go outside for winter sports is almost worse because then you got to put all the clothes on. It's like, oh my god,
it a lot of work. Well, we've got a pond down here. A lot of people have been ice skating. And then I've seen a ton of people going snowshoeing, which I feel like that's pretty new. Like, no, I don't feel like I've heard too many people snowshoeing in previous years. So I know a lot of people are trying to just look for different activities to do together.
Yeah, totally.
We started, I mean, as a husband and wife, we started walking. And my wife, to her credit, has hit 10,000 steps every day of the pandemic. She never took a day off. So we started, just for something to do, we take a 3-mile walk together every day. We'll drag the kids once in a while. We take the dog for a walk. We have a little midget dog that is a house dog. We never took her for long walks, and now we got in the habit of taking her for a walk, and she's nuts. All day she'll nip at me until we go for a long walk. But that's something we've, grown more accustomed to and gotten into the routine of. And Riley went with me yesterday. We took the dog for a walk all the way through the neighborhood and up and down the streets, and that was good daddy-daughter time. But they like to go sledding. They'll sled till they're blue in the face, and they went to Elver last week, and they go to Glacier Edge Hill, and they love that. And then and then they come home, and their crap is laying all over the hallway and soaking wet.
I'll take that. Just something out of the house.
I know, right? Exactly.
Miles went outside. He didn't have gloves or boots. I'm like, I don't care. He's outside. He'll come back, and then he's got to go back out, right? So, in closing, thank you so much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it. Can't get to 30 minutes. We're down to our last 6. In closing, what key learnings? Share some of your key learnings for this thing and what you're going to do moving forward. we're starting to open up, right? That was another thing. So going back to school this week, right? The people who had, I noticed this, the people who had younger kids that were in school all the time, their kids are home now 2 days a week. Wow. So it's not over. It's still changing, kind of like Matt alluded to earlier, right? Every week there's something new. But what's your key learning from the pandemic? What are you going to do moving forward to kind of keep your family and your kids active, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, the one thing that I learned is each of my 3 kids is different, and I have to motivate them in different ways to do different things. And to, Eli is the sit on the couch and play video games and watch YouTube videos till he's blue in the face. Although when I get his butt off the couch, he'll go play basketball outside for like 3 hours and I won't see him. And so once I get him off the couch, he needs to be motivated differently than Riley does. Riley is social and wants to be on FaceTime with her friends even more than just sitting on TikTok or watching a movie. So just learning, I learned more about my kids in the pandemic that I did not. Like, I got to know them all better and their personalities. And so that was actually a blessing. And then going forward, we're looking forward to life getting back to normal because they need it. We need it. Yeah.
Amen. You sure?
Just really, it comes down to, for us anyway, like us just trying to keep busy and doing stuff, like pushing them to do things. Because if we let them just sit, if we're sad and depressed and we let them just sit and be on their phones and sad and depressed, like that's just what it is going to be. So really just tried to keep our mindsets like positive and looking forward, and what can we do? What can we do to have fun together and just keep things as light as we can during all of this? Keep it as normal as we can. So just really pushing them to get out and do stuff, whether that's biking or anything outside.
I don't know about your kids, but both of you, but one-on-one time is awesome. Mm-hmm. Like the more we can divide and conquer and have one-on-one time, like it's awesome. So like I promised, there was a Saturday, we had nothing going on. There's no basketball. Eli, I don't forget what he's doing. He's at Grandma and Grandpa's or something. Riley and I had a date. So we went to Starbucks and then we came home and we binged watched Pitch Perfect together. And it's just her and I, and she loved that. And now Eli and I are watching The Mandalorian together, and he loves that. And so finding that then the one-on-one is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is the first year for hockey we've actually had to split up. So we've had a lot of that one-on-one time too. Like this weekend, Haley and I went to Green Bay, and then we went to Wausau, and it was just us two, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I 100% agree with both of you. Matt, you're right on point. What I've decided or started doing since we moved into the Verona area this year is I'm making, and it's easier if I can get one of his friends involved. Saying no to me is easy for him. Saying no to one of his friends, whole different ballgame, right? And unlike my oldest, who will just go find the friends and ride there by herself, and I don't even know where she is, I have to make him do it. I'm taking that opportunity to spend time with not only with him, but his friends in a one-on-one scenario as well. It's been completely eye-opening. Like you said, it's a blessing. It's awesome. Reese and I have done a lot of that together, and I want to make sure now my whole dilemma is I want to make sure I don't spend too much one-on-one time with Reese because it's easy and fun as opposed to trying it with Miles and having to work it a little bit, right? So that's one, and Kristen's really good at that. And it's funny because Miles is Kristen and Reese is me. So it's just, we just gravitate to each other that way, right?
Yeah.
But keeping them busy doing that stuff, making them go outside with me. I made him try to make him drive the snowblower the other day, which is a whole thing because my snowblower is horrible. But just keeping that movement, right? Just I guess at the end of the day, we're just going to keep trying, right? Just keep going at it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome, guys. We're at 29 minutes. I want to thank you both for coming. You guys want to, your information was down there below for your businesses. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it because you guys are very comfortable to do this with. Like I said, I know your family intimately. Aaron asked me to share this with him because he said you're going to lie the whole time.
I did not lie the whole time. I was honest.
That's awesome. Matt, please give Katie my best. And like I say, I really appreciate you guys joining on this week's episode of Manning the Grill. All right, take care. Don't hang up.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I don't know why it takes so long to end. It's just so spinning, right? No, that was awesome, guys. Thank you very much. That was basically touching everything on my notes.
Yeah.
That was,
it's showing that you're still live on my end.
Oh yeah, it does look like that.
Hold on. Having
Sorry.
trouble connecting, please.